Thanks so much for joining this stream. Make sure you check below and hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed. The lights are on, the cameras are rolling, and we're ready to go live. So make sure you comment and ask as many questions as you can. That makes this experience better, and it lets the algorithm know that this is engaging, and so it goes ahead and invites other people into the stream as well. So thank you very much for making this channel what it is. Now let's compare some e-ink tablets. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. Thanks for joining me in the middle of the day. I'm going to do quite a bit of live streaming today, at least I plan to do anyway. Today, well, this just arrived, and this is the keyboard cover. And I thought, do you know what? I'm set up, ready to film. I'm going to be filming some stuff on some Wacom. And I thought, well, I might as well just get this out of the box and film it. But then I thought, well, then I'll have to edit the thing to get it out to you. So, and I've got a lot of editing to do at the minute. So why not just get out of the box live and test it out with you? This is the keyboard case for the Boox Note Air5 C, and I've got comparisons to the other two keyboard case enabled devices from Boox coming up in this live stream. And yeah, we'll have a little look at this together for the first time. So this looks very similar to the actual case that you get when you buy a Note Air5 C, but it doesn't have the origami fold. This is the keyboard case though, and once again they've gone for a flappy clip thing. Not so cool. Here we are, step 1, 2, 3 and 4. Simply put it in the keyboard case and then you're done. It seems to be, yeah, it's not too thick. It's going to add a lot though onto the very slim Note Air5 C. And it seems like, I think sort of sensibly really, we'll talk about the other two keyboard cases that they've made. It seems like it's going to sort of clip almost into that side there. You've got the pogo pins here, which line up with the pogo pins there. No, that is magnetically in there. Yeah, it's going to display me the shortcuts. It's going to automatically go into landscape mode if I choose. It's going to automatically go to ultra fast if I like as well. And yeah, there we go. It gives me the same keyboard shortcuts there. So no changes there. And then it sits in and magnets in quite nicely there as well. Now, I did notice this about the keyboard case on the images, but actually they've added some little rubber stoppers in there as well. And I think that's because there has been some criticism about the keyboard, the keys lying too much directly on the actual e-ink screen. So here we are then. I'm going to open up, well, I'm going to start actually in the text notes. To test this out. Okay, it's quite a dead feeling. I'm not going to jazz that up any more than it really needs. It is a less expensive kind of keyboard case there. This is the Note Air5 C, and this is a Note Air5 C. This is a e-ink tablet rather than a laptop. Can you let me know, by the way? I'd love to know, because I'm streaming on both horizontal and vertical. Can you let me know if you're watching on the vertical, like in the shorts feed, and if you saw me in the shorts feed, is that how you found the vertical live stream? Or if you're watching on horizontal. So this is the keyboard case here. Now, there's one thing about the keyboard, which is that actually it automatically pops up still. So you have to sort of put it away, although you can tell it not to do that in the settings. So I'm going to do that just in a moment, but for now I'll just hide it while I'm working. So you don't have to have it automatically pop up on screen there as well. Yeah, nice. Hello, hello, hello. Lovely to see you. So yeah, we're trying out vertical live streaming on YouTube at the minute as well. So this is the Note Air5 C. from Onyx Boox. Now, one thing that I'm noticing straight away is this is quite a small keyboard. The size of a 10.3-inch screen is pretty narrow when you're trying to fit in a full-sized keyboard, and actually they haven't got that. They haven't managed that really, really well. What I would have preferred to have seen is them kind of squish in the buttons, these buttons here, kind of make these a bit smaller and leave me with the main sort of characters I'm going to use when typing. Leave me with the main characters. Thank you, Moni. Appreciate you all being here in whichever form you are. Which do you prefer? I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Hi, yeah, very, very warm welcome. They've squished in there, and actually something that I often do is just measure between Q and P. Just to tell you, the actual typing area here is 16 centimeters. And if I measure that on my actual, full-size desktop keyboard, then the distance between Q and P is 18. So it's not a massive difference. It's 2 centimeters smaller. You can feel that straight away when you're typing, that it isn't as natural as it is on a full-size keyboard. And actually they've got around it in a certain way on a different device, and other companies have got around this and managed to fit in full-size keys. So I wonder whether this is going to be comfortable for typing in long periods. Let's just make sure it is on its fastest it can be. It should have automatically gone into there. That seems faster now. Okay, it's cool though, isn't it? Isn't it a nice thing? Right. So yeah, that is the keyboard case. I will show that in docs as well. I just want to have a little look into it again. It does add quite a lot of thickness to the whole package though. Now, at least though, the pen is sort of sticking a little bit further away from the actual tablet though, and therefore it is no longer going to be pressing on those buttons. And yeah, you can kind of slip that clip onto there, which that's okay. I can imagine that. Okay, I can pull the whole pen and clip away at the same time. Makes a little bit more sense, I suppose. Clip it in there and you're away. One question I had from I've got my original Note Air5 C video, and I'm going to try and answer as many questions that people asked in this one here. John Manley asked, can you change the viewing angle? No, you can't change the viewing angle at all on the keyboard. It only has one position to clip in. Oh, this is an interesting point as well. Look, actually, there is no pogo pin like power connection between the top and the bottom. So this base is actually some type of wireless communication between the base of it and the keyboard, because there's no wire, unless they've managed to hide one in the lever there, but I'm pretty sure they haven't. The previous keyboard cases haven't needed to be charged, so I don't know when you'll get a notification, possibly in here somewhere. They might have to bring an update to allow that, but you're going to need to get a notification when your battery is low on this keyboard case. I can't see any, is that light? That's screen brightness toggle there. And then this is screen, that's light temperature as well. So you've got those toggles there, but you haven't got any backlit. You haven't got any backlighting on this actual keyboard here. I quite like things like this. There's a shortcut for split screen, which is a very useful thing on all of these Boox more productivity enabled devices. I will get to these lovely questions in here as well in just a moment, if you just give me 30 more seconds. I'm just sort of getting used to it as well. They will need an indication for when the battery is low. What do you think? Is this something you definitely add to your package, by the way? Please just let me know. Yeah, as I said, John, no, you can't change the viewing angle. You are stuck with what you're stuck with. And as I was just saying there, having this side by side, you can have a browser open, for instance. You could have a reader open here as well whilst you were typing. You can make one quite narrow and switch between them in this way, or just swipe them off and away they go. Okay, so quick questions. Is Remarkable's folio design patented? How come? Yeah, I've wondered that myself, Bogdan, absolutely. Is it patented? Is a good question. I don't know whether you can pattern that way to fold, but certainly, you know, perhaps they would need to make slight changes, but the whole idea, you can't patent the like idea of having the keyboard facing onto the thing in the way that it does. But Remarkable's keyboard is a bit more comfortable than this to type on. Don't think, I mean, I've got the new one here. It's a larger device, and the larger Remarkable Pro actually does have full-size keys, which I think is pretty important. Hello to you from the UK, Rodolfo. Bought a 470 review. It's working quite well. I'm so happy for you. Happy haps. Can you use a mouse with the keyboard? Yes, you can. You can Bluetooth a mouse in here. They don't have the pointer on here now. So I might as well just go ahead, because in any case, somebody was asking for a comparison between this is the Boox Tab Ultra C Pro, which is same size, but is very much a standard tablet sort of layout rather than being a notes orientated layout. And you'll possibly see, yeah, you can, it's slightly wider than the actual Note Air5 C case there as well. And it reminded me here, Rodolfo, because what they've added onto the Tab Ultra C Pro, they actually have a big pointer here, look, okay. And that is nice-ish. It's not incredibly useful in my opinion, and it's more the case that it's not useful because pointers aren't very useful on Android, in my opinion. So for me, it's not just that, okay, it's not a bad pointer or anything like that. It's just for me that actually when you click into things on Android, there's loads of functionality you expect a mouse and pointer to have, and it just doesn't have it on. Like, I'm trying to swipe between the two, home screen and back screen, and, you know, just, yeah. So it's Android's fault that the pointer is pretty useless, in my opinion. But you can have a mouse, and you can Bluetooth a mouse, most likely onto the Note Air5 C. So I just want to sort of do these sort of side by side and show what I mean here. You can see though, the keys are certainly that bit bigger. There's still not quite a full-size row there between the Q and the P, but it is a bit better. It's 17 centimeters. So basically you're losing 1 centimeter between Q and P on here on the Note Air5 C. You're losing 1 centimeter, sorry, you're losing 2 centimeters from a full size on the Note Air5 C, and you're losing just 1 centimeter on the Tab Ultra C Pro. And I actually find that these keys are just, this keyboard, I can tell straight away, this is a better place for typing. So I still think it's worth, if you're thinking to yourself, what is the best e-ink for typing? It may indeed, though, not be this guy, because we're going to look at the bigger even brother in just a moment. But let's just type in docs on both of these. It'll open. What's happening here then? Start a new one, shall we? There we go. I think that's because it was created just now and it just hasn't updated yet. This isn't typing at all just now. You can see the difference in the kind of way they've approached this. The keyboard is going to get its power from, there we are, yeah, from the tablet in this case, whereas you have to charge this on the Note Air5 C. So this is just that bit bigger. It's just that bit closer to a full size experience, really. But you can see they've had to extend it out slightly to the side. They've extended this slightly, but not as much to the side. So they haven't given you quite as full size a typing experience on here. So let's go ahead and go to Google Docs on here as well. And the reason why I was slightly delayed was because I was trying to get signed into Microsoft, but I don't think it's the actual tablet's fault. I think it's Microsoft's fault. It just wasn't signing in properly. So here's Google Docs on here. Yeah, just fine, absolutely. I think I'm going to go to the recommended. I'm going to change the DPI. No, you need to go customize to do that. Yeah. Change the DPI so that it's a bit bigger, and that kind of tricks the tablet into zooming in and scaling things right, because e-ink screens are very high resolution. Okay, cool. And then there's one more option, of course, which is the Tab XC, which I've got here as well. And this is the recommend if you want to do productivity type of things on e-ink, because you've just got all of the screen real estate. Yeah, it's just that. I mean, the difference in size, look, between the two Boox tablets. It's cool, right? It's massive, yeah. Yeah, I'm really pleased to see so many people joining on vertical as well. I'll just chat through a couple of these points again, if that's all right with you. To be honest, it does look a bit smaller when you type to the keys are backlighting. No, there's no backlighting on this. There's no backlighting actually on any of them, I don't think. I don't think there's backlighting on any of them actually, so that's one thing. You do get that on the Remarkable keyboard case though. Do I think the additions warrant an upgrade? I feel like Boox will be way better off investing more time developing their OS and skip device updates if they're so marginal. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think, you know, what I wonder about with the Note Air5 C is why haven't we got a Note Air 4 black and white? You know, like why there is a demand for that. Loads of people are saying, I just want black and white 300 DPI front light. You know, I want the Note Air 4. I want the black and white version of that, and they just haven't sort of done that. They could have, the gap was kind of there for them to do that at this point, but they will have had their reasons. They will have thought through this. They will have looked at people's you know, comments and thought this is what they want to do. They've heard a lot about improving the pen, I think. A lot of complaints about the pen, and perhaps they thought to themselves, yeah, time to release a new pen. And this is, by the way, still a really A+ pen. It's a Wacom EMR stylus. And there was one comment on my last video about this issue with the pen, which is that the magnetic cap just comes off a bit too easily. And someone says, just twist it ever so slightly around to one side, and then it actually doesn't come off. It's not designed to do that, but if you do twist the cap ever so slightly around to one side, it won't come off. So that's one sort of good thing about it there. Yeah, good morning to you as well there. It's actually just sneaked into the afternoon here, my buddy, but yeah, great to see you here. But do I think that it's worth investing? I think if you're on the Note Air 3 C now, maybe there's a point in investing, but you know, they've brought a keyboard case out into it now. And if that appeals to you, if that's what you want, if you still want to retain the Note style writing feel, this has got more of a kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? More of a textured screen compared to the, oh, it's lovely to write on, compared to the Tab XC and the Tab Ultra C Pro. So if you do want that, then, you know, maybe this is the thing. So yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Just ordered the keyboard bundle yesterday. Great timing, yeah. So they must be sort of ready to ship now. It literally arrived just today, and I was like, might as well get it out of the box, and might as well do it with you guys here just to answer a few of your questions. Hello from the UK. Very good to see you here. To save power, if I had one complaint about Remarkable, is no expandability. Yeah, so I guess it won't have to power the keyboard, so that actually isn't draining as much from the actual tablet. But I think there's going to be a time when I've kind of forgotten to charge this keyboard. I mean, keyboards last for a long time. Keyboards do last, you know, the charge on a keyboard do last for quite considerably longer than a lot of other devices. So it's not going to be like you have to charge it every day. But yeah, there is going to be a time where I'm like, we'll start missing keys or something like that, and I'll be like, oh, I've got to charge it, and I won't have a cable, so I won't be able to do the thing that I wanted to do there. Yeah, no expandability on Remarkable. Absolutely, we've got Boox here doing everything it can to give you Android apps and really do a good job with those as well. Cool. Oh, sorry, yes, more there. Marcelo, very glad to answer your question. Anybody like to ask anything at all about the Note Air5 C, or indeed the keyboard case itself? Yeah. So if Boox ever released a Tab Ultra C Pro 2, that would give me to upgrade from the original Tab Ultra C, which I picked up 1 month before the Tab Ultra C Pro was announced. Yeah, so you can see that was really, you know, a bit of a kind of point where that point about they release things too quickly. That was like 6 months in between the C and the Pro, wasn't it? And I still use the C, and I don't think it's broken at all. But yeah, you can see the way that the Tab Ultra C Pro refreshes is really good, but it's even more impressive here on the Tab XC, which the BSR, the very rapid refresh rate on e-ink now, especially with Boox, is just incredible. You see there's just hardly any ghosting at all. Incidentally, I'm back this evening, by the way, and we'll look at Palma 2 Pro, and we'll look also a little bit more detail about the phone that I've started to use, which is just here, the Next Paper 60 Ultra as well. So if you're up for that later on, then please do join me later on. That'll be 9 o'clock UK time. The case does look pretty. Yeah, it does look nice, actually. What are the complaints about the previous keyboard cases not lining up correctly with the tablet? If that's fixed now, is that fixed now if that's the case? Yeah, I think that they've certainly looked into that, haven't they? And they've decided to go with this now that it magnets into the top half. But this adds a bit of bulk, though. So now you've got this reasonably thick top half here, and it magnets into there. And then that sits in a rail there and magnets into there as well. And that does mean, I suppose, let's just actually have a little look at this. If I go across the screen here, am I seeing lots of positions where it wobbles? Oh, it's not too bad, actually. It's not too bad at all. And you can see that because it's an EMR pen, it's got lovely straight lines. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. What about when I've got it in the case from doing some notes on it, maybe? Yeah, not really any wobble there, look. Yeah, a little bit in the corners there. Yeah, a little bit there where the rail is underneath. So it's going to be around this point here where the rail is. So not bad. I mean, and also you can always just take it out of this case when you do want to write or anything like that. So, okay, there's some quite good things there. Yes, the keyboard case. I wanted to look at the keyboard case on the Tab XC, the big one, just to sort of make that comparison for you all. This is currently not in the keyboard case, as I'm not a massive fan of the keyboard case on this big guy. And the Tab XC does have a non-EMR stylus. It's a USI capacitive stylus. And you can just see now we're getting closer to a sort of full size. Okay, there we are. And I can go to, let's go to a text note here as well. If I just do the same thing that I did before, now we've got, yeah, the full 18 centimeters, 18.5 centimeters between Q and P. So we've got nice full-size keys. I'll zoom out a bit. I mean, this is just great, really. It's great in that now when I do a split screen mode on here and I've got that keyboard shortcut over here, you know, I've got such a nice large area to type in on this side. And I've got an area across here that I can have my document that I need to reference. And I can make this large or small. I could have Word on one side. I could have OneNote on the other, maybe. You know, there's lots of uses that you can see here. And it's just more comfortable typing on that larger thing. The way I've actually been using this when I've worked on here is that I've been using a Bluetooth keyboard, a separate Bluetooth keyboard, and just sort of leaving it mounted on something in the side there. But let's just show the two sizes so you can really get the idea. You know, it's a lot smaller than a full-size keyboard, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's your choice there. So I'll just I'll just show one more thing just about the screen and the way that's kind of refreshing. I just want to actually see, does this do the BSR in the same way that the Tab Ultra C does, or the Tab XC? Yeah, this seems to be this kind of one, you know, there's basically no ghosting at all there. It's just pulling it down straight away, whereas the Tab Ultra C Pro, when it removes the ghosting, it kind of, yeah, you can see actually the fair bit of ghosting there. It kind of removes it in stages. In fact, it's not removing it at all at that point for some reason. Let's just give it its best shot then. That's better, yeah. So actually the Note Air5 C's ghosting removal algorithm is really, really good. That is really impressive, actually. Cool. Let's just have a little look through your questions now, and a few of the questions that were asked before as well. So lovely to see you, short attention span hobbies. Is there any reason to worry about upgrading to, not unless you want this keyboard case, I think, mate. I think the keyboard case is the thing. If you want that, sure. I don't think there's much else to really go for. There's the same processor. It is a better performing screen. I have noticed that. I noticed that in my first sort of look review. Thanks so much for the positive response to that, and the review of the Palma 2, by the way, as well. So you know, it is performing slightly better, but actually at its heart it's the same processor. And of course you've got the Android 15 now, which none of these are Android 15. These are all Android 14, sorry, 13 rather, the Tab XC and the Tab Ultra C Pro. So there's that. Does it crash? It hasn't yet. So I have been drawing, well, I've just done that one drawing actually on it, because I've really gone to town on, where is that one drawing? Is it in this one? I've really gone to town and covered quite a lot in the last few days. So I've kind of like left this one for a little while, whilst I just cover the Palma C, the Palma, it's called a Palma 2 Pro rather than the Palma C, isn't it? But I've enjoyed drawing on that, but we'll talk about that one later on. But I haven't found it actually crashing so far. I will keep testing that one, Javier. Lots of people are joining from the vertical, so that's very interesting. I can see I've got a little symbol here. Interestingly, did you make that choice, or is that where it popped up and that's what it sort of promoted for you. Did you miss anything super? Yes, you missed the unboxing part. That's the bit that's the most exciting. Cool, yeah. Wow, yeah. I noticed it's so bad when drawing with colors. What was that? The lag. Oh, you noticed it's bad. You noticed. I'm not sure what you were noticing there, I'm afraid. Yeah, the Palma 2 Pro is very interesting, and as is the TCL Next paper. Got the first videos of that, so go and hit them, have a look at them when you finish this live stream. No, it doesn't if you set it upside down, but it's not. Yeah, so like the way I had it there, it is pretty firm. It's not. Yeah, no, actually, it did hit the volume button there. Yeah. So no, the I wonder, could they? No, they probably couldn't. I was thinking, could they just release a new cap that wasn't quite as long? No, it looks like that's the case there. So, not ideal, that one. Have I tried the Lamy or the V-Wood Pro? I have not tried the Lamy because I've misplaced my Lamy. I don't know where my Lamy has gone. But yeah, you could certainly use this is the Staedtler Norris Jumbo. I would just, this is probably my favorite Boox pen anyway. This is the one that I would just stick to using. And the reason why I like this one is because it had a much harder nib. And that, obviously, that's just the right size. It's just they've made the pen longer and just haven't thought to move the actual magnets down slightly. So that's a bit of a nuisance, really. I guess they could release another one with a little bit of an apology and just make it a centimetre or two shorter. The new V-Wood Pro, yeah, I got that here. I mean, this is the ceramic one, so I will tread lightly with it. Probably feels quite nice, actually. So it definitely works. Whether that's the answer, I don't know. What else? Is there another one? Is the Note Air5 keyboard no, it's not compatible. The pogos are in a different place, totally different sort of way that it's working, and it must, I guess, I mean, this side must come with a transmitter, mustn't it? It's not doing a Bluetooth pairing. There's no nuisance like having to do a Bluetooth pair. But this part must have a little transmitter built in, so the takes the signal from the pogo pins, a little 2.4 gigahertz transmitter probably down to the keyboard. So the keyboard itself will need occasionally charged. Love my Lamy EMR with my Tab Ultra C. Yeah, it is a good time, Lamy EMR. Can you open one or two PDFs with it? So in split screen, I guess, is that what you're talking about? Yes. What you do if you want to use PDFs in split screen, rather than start a instance of split screen, what you do is you go into the reader. I don't actually have any PDFs on here just now, but I could do it on here, I suppose. If you in Boox, if you want to open two PDFs side by side, you don't start a global split screen. You go into the reader, and then down here you go split view. So within the PDF reader, you open a split view, and then you can have another doc, and you can actually put side by side two documents like so. And of course, you can, on a long type of pen, you can annotate both documents as you go, or you can have doc and notes. So loads of things you can do there. With the Boox system apps, you do split screen from within them, essentially. If that answers your question. Yeah, Tablet CV, yeah. And yet, when that was brought out, that was like the gold standard of ghosting removal, wasn't it? And that's an interesting thing, how far actually the Boox super refresh has come, even since the very first time, the very first one. Yeah, there must be, but maybe it's something I can do with Android 15. And yeah, will they don't seem to be able to, or don't seem to be willing to, or something, actually add update Android versions within device. So it seems to be the case that if you want the next Android version, you have to go up to the next device, which is a bit of a nuisance. But especially when you consider, I mean, Samsung can do it. I'm just talking about getting rid of my Samsung Z Fold. And it's like, well, the entire time I've had that phone, 4 years, I've always got the latest Android version. So I don't understand that. Thanks for sharing. That's really interesting, Marcelo. Which Tab Ultra C would include volume up and down buttons? I forgot about that. Yeah, they are on the Tab Ultra C Pro. So that's interesting. I wonder, will the Pen 2 Pro, that shouldn't interrupt. I know that also on the Note line does go over the volume buttons. Didn't seem to press it though. But yeah, the position of that magnet still puts it over that. So maybe that's what they were thinking. Well, actually, what we can do is sort of just bring the same design. Yeah, see, it's the same length as the Pen 2 Pro. And they probably thought, well, if it's the same length as the Pen 2 Pro, it's going to be compatible. But that doesn't hit the volume buttons on the Tab Ultra C Pro, but it does hit the volume buttons on the Note Air5 C. So just a bit of an oversight there, really. Something that shouldn't pass their quality control. There's probably been two different teams there. One working on the pen and one working on the thing. They just haven't managed to get that joined up thinking. You can kind of put it temporarily there. You can do what I said at the top, and actually it isn't going to do when it's in the case. You can sort of use that clip to this little flap, and it's out there. I don't think it's a massive deal breaker. It's just one of those things that wouldn't happen on a company like Remarkable, who just take that bit more time over their hardware to get it right. Cool. Okay. Can use the Supernote pen with Boox devices? Yeah, you can use the Supernote pen, but whether you should is another question. We've always said that ceramic nibs can damage these screens. However, it does seem to be the case that ceramic nibs suddenly work just fine on the W2 stylus on VWoods. So I don't see why, if they work fine, unless you're really trying to scratch it, I think you'll probably be okay. But I don't think the ceramic nib for me goes really well with the feel right on the Supernote. I don't think you need to actually do that on this type of screen protector. I like the Tab X size, but not in a hurry to buy. I should wait for the next version. When do you expect it to be released? Well, the Tab X C is just out, really, only in the last sort of less than half a year. So probably next year, next autumn. Can you clearly read PDFs? Is it good for you? I'm going to buy if it's okay. Yeah, it is definitely okay. Reading PDFs, especially if you go for the larger one, is a really, really good time. If you're trying to read PDFs that are sort of A4 size, then definitely the larger devices are fabulous. But the smaller one, if you need a bit of portability, or if you just think, do you know what, actually it's just too rich for me to go up to the Tab X C. Or look, if you like black and white, look at the Note Max, which is absolutely fantastic. And actually the Note Max is a fantastic price as well. Ditched my Z Fold 4 for an S25 Ultra last week. The Air4C fills the handwritten notes use case for me very well. Yeah, I'm very interested by that. I'm very interested though if this guy, which I will save this discussion for later, if that's all right with you all, can be sort of like can be sort of all of those things, because the S25 obviously doesn't have the EMR pen, and it seems like it's back with a vengeance in that thing there, but I'll talk about that later on because I have other thoughts. Carbon fiber tip in my Lamy EMR, and it's leaving some scratching on the screen protector. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, just be aware of that. You can do that, if you're willing to sort of replace them, or if you're not too precious about about the thing. Or as Marcelo says, don't mash the stylus on the screen. Yeah, just be gentle. Don't sort of try and scratch, and it should be all right. It'd be great if they could add note-taking advantages, ceramic nib, stylus plus screen in the Supernote. Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I keep thinking to myself, you know, and I kind of concluded the first look review of the Note Air5 C with the statement that, like, you know, we're almost at something like perfect, but I think that we're at the point where everything is kind of like trade-offs. And yeah, okay, so you want it slightly smaller. Well, you can't then have a full-size keyboard, can you? You want your keyboard to like to be firmly in position and be able to, you know, carry it around in different ways. But then you can't also have like several different angles to hold it at. So there's lots of sort of compromises. You want magnets, well, then you're going to struggle to use EMR pens because the magnets interfere with those. So if you want strong magnets, then you're going to struggle with that. So these are the things, you know, we're in the position where there's still no one device for everything, and the improvements mean disadvantages and complaints as well. And I was thinking to myself, like, even if I could reel off all of the things that I would like in a device, then unfortunately it would still be the case that that I would have something to complain about, because yeah, by changing things, like I said in my review of the Palma, like, actually it would be nice if the pen for the Palma was a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner, so it could sort of fit more neatly into a smaller package. And then I'm going to say in the review of this, and I don't think I mentioned it, like, it's kind of like, look at this massive like tube for the pen, and then the pen takes up this tiny little bit of space down the bottom here, and it's really, really thin. So why can't the pen be a bit thicker and a bit you know? And it's like, well, it's like the exact opposite of the same argument, isn't it? And it's just like, you change one thing and that affects another, and that just means, you know, you're constantly in a kind of world of trade-offs, really, and compromises. So there's no totally uncompromising device out there, is there? Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a member, Mohammed. Thanks for useful reviews. Do you recommend it over the Note Air5 C? New to Ink, and they're offering Note Air5 C with Pen 2 Pro for a fair price of bundle. Should I go for that and save 150 USD? And that'll be absolutely brilliant. That's still an absolutely brilliant device. There we are. So, I mean, should you? Do you need the keyboard case? Do you need the latest Android? Then, you know, that's your trade-off, isn't it? I mean, the thing I always think about is, if you buy older technology, is it worth that £150 extra right now to mean that you don't have to upgrade for another year? Now, that's a question. However, there's so many great e-ink devices that were bought out 5 years ago that are they're still just going strong. I mean, did you all watch Voya's Mont Blanc? Or so Mont Blanc, I should say. Should know my terrible English accent. His Mont Blanc review, which was absolutely hilarious, absolutely brilliant. Did you all watch that? Tell me if you've watched the Voya's Mont Blanc review, because it's really, really good. And there's something he says in that, yeah, which he keeps going back to, that the Remarkable 2 is outperforming the Mont Blanc in many ways, and it's 5 years old. You know, and I think that's a really good point. There's so many people here that, yeah, I've got just upgraded from the Note Air 2 Plus, they're saying over here, you know, and yeah, there's loads of people just saying, you know, actually, okay, finally here, I've come from a Note Air 2, which has been working fine. Note Air 2 Plus has been working fine. You know, and actually those devices, if they're still going strong, then there's nothing wrong with that. So the Note Air5 C is only a year old, and it's absolutely brilliant. And if you're saving $150, that's an amazing price for still just basically the same screen. It is the same screen, still the same processor, just a few minor upgrades, really. So it might be still a good shout for you. Yeah, Lamy nibs. I used to use the Lamy with the Remarkable nibs, which is a really good combo. I have to say, you can recommend the HD10 as a workable writing tablet. Well, I bought them from a team, and they're definitely garbage at best. I'm replacing them with XP Pen, which is glorious. I love the XP Pen. The HD10. Oh yeah, that was That was the Amazon, wasn't it? Sorry, the Amazon Fire HD10. Yeah, no, I've talked about that though. It really wasn't like, I did say I didn't recommend it. It works, yeah, it does work. But I mean, I made the point in that review that the handwriting was nowhere near as good as on the Google tablet, the Pixel tablet. That was really looking at the USI stylus, which is an interesting one because you know, so many of the tablets have gone to USI stylus now, and there's such variation between the quality of one USI and, you know, by that I mean capacitive technology stylus and another. So it's really interesting, you know, why some companies can get so much more out of the USI stylus than others. But the Amazon HD10, I did say, was a very inexpensive tablet, but it's like the least expensive way to get passable stylus technology, which I think was what I made, the point I made in that review there. But the XP Pen, I love that as well. Yeah, absolutely love that. I think it's one that I keep going back to, actually, the XP Pen, although I've never really made a dedicated sort of full review of it. But it's certainly, I was thinking about the other day, it's certainly, if I go sketching in a gallery, especially if I want to work with color, I think that screen is lovely, the pen is lovely. And that's why I'm so keen on this guy, because so you want to have a look at this, the next paper, 60 Ultra, because it has a little XP Pen EMR stylus in there as well. So I've got the review of that there. Yeah, certainly no one best form factor. Thank you very much. Yeah, comment reserved. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really clever, and a real commitment to a bit. And I thought it would just be the you know, 1 minute intro that he would do the bit, but no, he did the bit. Did the bit right up until the display analysis framework chat, which was there we go. Absurd number of problems with Note Air5 C for me. The microphone only works in stock recorder app. Is that right? And the speaker is the worst I've ever heard. And I'm just going to have to try a Big Me. Yeah, but there's the Big Me's I've tried. I need to go back to the Big Me. The Big Me that they sent me, which was in, you know, it's a very similar sort of lineup to this. And actually, their keyboard case is pretty good. I'll just grab that a second. If I can find it. Is that it? Yeah. So this is the Big Me keyboard case. And this, I'm trying to remember what these are even called now. This is the 1051C, is it? Now there is a 1051C Ultra. Now actually the keyboard case on this is quite good, because you can see it's large like the Ultra C Pro. It's got a pointer. It's almost like, it's got almost exactly the same feel of buttons, and the tablet itself is pretty thin. Just my word, Big Me. I've forgotten how much of a Mac on other people they are. I mean, look at this with the little orange stripe as well. Gosh, but it clips in there rather than magnetizes in there, which should be good. But the problem with this is that the pen was like constantly inaccurate. It was impossible to write neatly on this. And I think maybe that is because I think I've got a bad like unit here, faulty unit. And they never sort of said, yeah, it's a faulty unit, we'll send you a replacement to try. But there's also the 1051C Ultra or Plus or something like this, which is probably even better. And the processor in here is good. The anti-ghosting is good. And actually, look at the package, is actually thinner here on the Big Me than it is on the Note Air5 C. So the overall kind of, you know, if that was working, if that worked flawlessly with the pen, then I'd have been able to recommend this to people. Yeah, see, it's a fair bit thinner actually, and generally they've actually done not a bad job of designing that. So it might be worth looking at that. And I do think the Big Me really need to make, if I just make sure there, you can see there's a 0.5 centimeter at least thinner form factor there. And yeah, I think they need to make more of the link between their tablets and their phones, because their phones are really good, their ink phones. And, you know, you could imagine this being a very nice ink combo if it was only, yeah, if the pen just worked better there. So I don't know, I'll wait for Big Me to release the next thing of that, and I'll revisit that whenever they do the next iteration of that. My last little bit then, thanks very much. Wondering, and apologies if this was covered, how is the Note Air5 C handling high resolution images, large files, rich calligraphy PDF images? I don't have any just on hand right now, but it's certainly, you know, this screen can do a really good job of great looking images. So if I just go and find a good image, you know, this is in its fast refresh mode, so it's not looking great. Oh, sorry, that's overheated. This is in its fast refresh mode, so it's not looking great at this point, but if you go into HD, it can look really, really quite good. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'll just solo myself for the last few moments, everyone. Volume buttons on the Big Me. Yes, there are. There's two. They're up in the corner. Oh, no, I thought there were. No, it's just a on-off button there. I could have sworn there were on this one's, but maybe I was thinking of a different Big Me. So no volume buttons on that. And they've gone for the flappy thing as well. My pleasure. Right. Okay. Thank you very much then, everybody. And I will see you. I hope I see you later on for chat about the Palma 2 Pro, and also chat in depth about the next paper, 60 Ultra. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me this afternoon. It's been fun.